Alright, let me get the overlay here reset up real quick, because again we had a bit of a disjoint. Again, if you guys are watching on the VODs or something, you're good to go. You didn't miss a beat. But for those of us who had to wait around a little bit, my apologies go out, and thank you for sitting through this. But we now find ourselves in game number 4, finally. Score currently 2-1 in the favor of our blue Protoss player, but spawning here towards the south, it is the Red Terran, known as Yoda. Yoda, no, he is. I'm sure someone's made that joke before. That wasn't even creative. That was low-hanging fruit, is what that was. His opponent, though, top left, he's the blue Protoss player. They're currently 1 game away from victory in this best of 5. Stork. Of course, Samsung Galaxy, player coming from Korea. Again, both these guys playing on the North American server, and perhaps once upon a time this wouldn't have been such a big deal, as Yoda was in Korea for the longest time, but now he lives in the house with Hyun and MC and all those guys over in Europe, so North America is the middle ground, and he gets to feel the burn. He gets to feel the burn of that latency. Now, I don't really know if that's been affecting his game so far. We haven't really seen any examples of it, so it'd be too quick to say, like, oh, he's lagging, so he's playing really bad. But I think 2 of the biggest criticisms so far was, of course, Yoda in game number 1 and 2. Very reluctant to do scouting. Got very little information for it. And the one game he actually built the Reaper for didn't work out in the slightest, because it wasn't the scouting across the map that killed him. Again, it was the scouting, the lack of scouting, that probe that snuck in, the probe that never left, the probe that put the pylon that sealed the deal in that game. But I don't think he'll let that happen again, and that is really a once-in-a-lifetime situation for someone like Stork as well, who's granted talented and completely exploited a situation that presented itself, but not something you exactly plan for. You can plan for types of cheese, guys, in StarCraft 2, but not the eventuality of like, oh hey, this probe's gone undiscovered for 20 minutes. I'm gonna build 4 gates and rock and roll. Or I guess 20 minutes, more like 10. Because if it was 20 minutes, they'd have stim out. Whatever. Anyways, as far as this game goes though, Command Center first. Such a ballsy greedy move out of Yoda. I mean, you've kind of got the guise of the force player spawn, quote-unquote, mentality where your opponent won't scout you right away due to the fact that this is 3-player spawn. But as we see, Stork's going to come in to catch this, and quite frankly, has plenty of time to harass the SCV building the command center. Probably going to need to see another 1 or 2 pulled if he doesn't... oh, he's actually not going to poke it at all. Just goes to the main base to scout. Again, with the gasless opening coming out of Yoda. Not at all a bad or inefficient way to play the game, but a little bit less... text-centered early on. So, again, this is another map where blink may be an issue. The opportunity does present itself through a couple of ways to get into the main. But more so, again, when you scout no gas, it means stim will be really late, which means you may be able to get away with it. And here we go. The nuisance begins. The struggle is real. If you're a Terran player, you know this pain. Ah, but the Marine comes out to save it. Whoop whoop. Alright, not going to quite get the kill. Meanwhile, Yoda's about to get a scout off at his opponent's base. Well, what is there for him to really see? The Nexus is coming down. There's been no additional tech thrown down. Again, it's not really this first 4-minute scout that matters the most. It's usually the 6-minute one that'll give the tale of where this game is heading. But sadly, this SCV I don't think is going to make it alive for that 6-minute scout. In fact, it does get caught behind the Cyber Core. And the Mothership Core will claim, once again, first blood. That's interesting. We had the Forge thrown down pretty much immediately upon that SCV dying. The Forge coming down first is not like a terrible thing, but you don't exactly throw down cannons to defend against Terran players early. This is something that usually comes a little bit later to deter drops. So my only thought is like this is going to be for either faster weapons or faster armor. If it's armor, we're going to see... Well, no, it's going to be weapons, actually. With the Rover facility coming out, it's almost for sure going to be weapons. You're going to want those weapon upgrades on the Stalkers, making them a little bit more potent against things like Vikings, especially because most likely Stork's heading down the path of Colossus. But, if it ends up being armor... Oh, I was going to say, armor's not too bad of a choice either. This can lead into a whole nother tech path if given the opportunity, but without the opener for harass with an Oracle or such, we're probably not going to see that quicker storm or charge. But he'll see the Robo, he'll see the upgrades coming down the Forge. And the reason armor works so fantastically for Protoss players, by the way, guys, between armor upgrades, the fact that Zealots come with built-in armor, a lot of units do not, but Zealots certainly do, combined with the fact that Guardian Shield reduces range damage, it makes it so Marines, they hit like wet noodles. They're not that potent, they're not that strong, they're not that scary. They hit really fast, granted, but they only hit for 5, 6, sorry. And if you already reduce the armor by 3, plus like I know, armor upgrades. Yeah, it's going to be not too scary. But early on, he's still got to worry about this little push. We did see Yoda get the Stalker snipes last time, but that was, of course, with a pylon in his own base and lots of other terrible, awful things happening at the same time. Ooh, this is also really ballsy. He's going for a faster third. Oh, what is Yoda doing this game? He's not being aggressive, but instead being incredibly greedy. And I gotta be honest, guys, you don't see a lot of Terran players play like this because it's kind of your role to put the pressure on. You can't just sit back and let a Protoss player max out. Because A, they'll probably max out a little more efficiently than a Terran player will, but also, you gotta keep the Colossus count down, man. You can't let them get to 7 or 8. But okay, this ramp's gonna find a little bit of a scuffle. There is no, oh, nicely gets that. As you see, there's no concussor shells, but he still manages to get a Stalker snipe. Base out the overcharge. Oh, I just realized I was gonna say, how did that not die? But the range, of course, is a little bit neutered in comparison. But the Warp Prism is an interesting choice. I kind of almost hope this is like a Puck style Warp Prism and not so much a Warp and Zealots in the main Warp Prism. I mean, more often than not, and chances are he's going to have the Warp Prism full of 4 Zealots. He'll unload them in the main and he'll go to town on the production SCVs. But Puck, it's trolly and it's silly and it's dumb, but Puck will do this thing where he puts like a Colossus in the Warp Prism. And with good micro, it's almost unkillable. In fact, it is nigh unkillable with how stupid it is. But as predicted, there's a couple Zealots coming in for the time being. Now, for what Yoda has at the home defense, I'm just trying to assess this real quick. I think he'll be okay to hold off against any sort of pushes coming up that ramp. Scans the main again. But the problem is, and this is where the Warp Prism really comes in strong, Terran production sucks. Honestly, there's like no production worse than Terran production. And that's why a lot of the times you hear people talk about how once the production line's compromised, so is the Terran player. It's pretty much the same deal here, where the Warp Prism's going to come in. There's a lot of dead space up here. Oh god, how I wish he would have put a depot over here. There's a couple Marines coming here, and you can certainly kill a Warp Prism before he can warp in, but not when there's 4 Zealots inside of it. He does have stim, but even then, kiting Zealots is not an easy task. And right on top of the production lines he goes. Tries to focus in the Warp Prism right away. Love this choice. The Zealots are not, of course, the real issue here. Man, that Marine just fell in half, bros. That Marine just died in half. He became 2 people as he died. Alright, pushing this back for the time being. The second starport is up and running, so he's going to actually be able to do that sort of 4 Viking production at a time, which is not so easy to accomplish. But the Warp Prism did not die, unfortunately. It's still alive, albeit just barely, but these stimmed units may catch it. Hoping to catch him a little off guard. Will catch the Warp Prism. Gets a couple of Zealots inside. Not a bad snipe there out of Yoda. In fact, a really great way to shut down possible aggression. But, of course, let's not forget over here on the top right, we do have... I guess more like middle right, a pylon down. He knows about the third base. He will more likely than not try to warp in some Zealots to counterattack this when a real attack's going on. Or he gets to join in from the side. I like the bunker though. Leaving 4 Marines in this is pretty critical. And the 1 supply depot is going to choke out the direction in which, or the angle which, surface area, that's the word, Zealots can actually attack. Sorry, kind of a combination of waking up and ADD, you know, kicking in to overdrive. But you know, he's got a nice medevac count. He's producing a lot of Vikings right now. Oh god, he actually hasn't scanned the one observer that's sitting right on top of his rally. That's a little unfortunate. But as we see Zealot driven off, and another depot actually seals his wall off pretty nicely. Oh, but quadruple drop coming into the main. Now this is revealed due to that awkward probe being where it is, but yeah, the Colossus and the Stalkers will be here first, thanks to Blink. Unfortunately, though, because of Blink, he's got to be careful getting out of here with the medevacs. I think he knows this as well, so he has to fight the Stalkers down. Otherwise, he'll just snipe off the medevacs as he tries to retreat. Maybe able to get a couple of these units out alive. Oh, loses 1 medevac full of units. Unfortunately, it's the low HP medevac that picks it up. Gets revenge on that scouting probe. And 1 Marine was trying to, I don't know what 1 Marine was doing, but 1 Marine was trying to be helpful. Colossus production is still in full tow. We got upgrades still coming out as well, and the charge lots are going to make these so much better. Charge lots just deal with bios so efficiently, so effectively. Unless you've got a whole layer of Wood Mines, which, let's be honest, a lot of Terran players do not, it's not going to be easy to hold. Does he know about this pylon? He must. There was that Zealot warping earlier, so... Even if he doesn't know where the pylon is directly, it's the guessing game where you can kind of predict where your opponent will place these things down. But Stalkers were looking for the drop, unfortunately was deterred, I guess. And now we got some ghosts coming out with these Vikings. Again, if there's one thing that goes faster, if there's one thing that kills Colossus faster than Vikings. It's EMP'd Colossus with Vikings, so this will be kind of critical for the Zealots as well. Unfortunately, though, man, someone pointed this out to me yesterday. I say unfortunately way too much. Sadly, unpredictably, I don't know, I gotta find another filler word, but the point is, he's not gonna have a lot of army that can deal with these charge lots. These are 2 armor upgrades. They're gonna take some hits. Guardian shields are gonna be going down as well. Nothing here is going to die particularly fast, even if EMP'd. Actually, where's the ghost count right now? At 3? 3's not too bad. By the way, shout out, you know, there's a lot of things we joke about, like, David Kim, why you do this, why you do that? Giving Ghost the built-in Moby's reactor changed this matchup so dramatically to the point where I think I would never go as far as to call Ghost OP necessarily, but it became like 10 times more effective when you're able to just build these straight up and not worry about investing gas into that particular upgrade. But the SCVs are pulled once again. Yoda said if this worked once, well, it didn't really work once, but it's going to try and make it work again. This time, though, and this is a critical difference, he sorted out the SCVs. The last time, he kind of came in with this big A-move attack, and unfortunately, a lot of the SCVs were behind the Marine line, behind the Marauder line. Either way, the Colossus count is being dealt with here. No, unfortunately, there's some hallucinations mixed in here, but the real Colossus are being focused down thanks to these scans. He's going to win out the ground fight. There's a couple Zealots still standing, but the SCVs have dissipated at this point. If the Colossus go down, oh god, he's firing away at the fakes. He takes out the last couple real Colossus, but after taking out 2 hallucinations, so much time lost to this attack. And now, oh god, the alarm's going off. Yikes. We do have these Stalkers still standing strong. Now, the Marauders can deal with the Stalkers, but they can't deal with the Zealots that are warping in behind us. We got some Archons that are about to be merged in as well, and this is not looking too good for Yoda, who pulled everything to make this work. He's got to kill some workers. Sorry, my alarm went off in the middle of the fight. I forgot I had set that for the Acer Team Strike up, but we're casting this, not the ATC today. Well, he's gonna try and disengage. Where did those come from? What just happened? Did he pull those up here and do a big loop-de-loop? Okay, whatever. The remainder of the SCVs are being pulled this time. There's still a couple mining. Yoda's economy's not in the gutter. But I don't know if this will be enough of a buffer. The thing about the SCVs, though, guys, when you pull them versus players who don't have AoE, area of effect damage, it's incredibly effective. The downside is, though, alas, that's a good filler word. The downside is, though, there's still AoE damage. There's the Archons here at the front lines. Now, granted, a couple of EMPs do need to go down, but not enough of them are available, sadly. As a lot of these are Marines and Marauders, but it looks like Brute Force may just end up doing it. The Archons are being taken out here pretty swiftly. There's a couple of Stalkers behind this, but the Marauders can certainly deal with that. Couple of Archons trying to get focus fire down underneath these medevacs, though. Oh, but as all the medevacs go down, so do the Bio GG is going to be called, and it looks like Stork will win the series 3-1.